Welcome back to Dark with Daniel. We're going to be BSing with Marion today.
You came on a good podcast if you really enjoy BSing.
Yes, that's why we double teamed you, two of us.
Yeah.
We lost the lights already.
Lost the lights already? What's going on?
I don't know.
I swear this is
I'll
more
fix
legit
it.
usually.
What background do you come from?
What background?
Yeah, like school or job or
Ooh. We'll start at school. I was homeschooled my entire life.
like him.
We grew up down the street from each other.
Yep.
Gotcha.
In the same school district, in the same development, well, for a majority of your life, for my entire life.
Yeah, basically. I moved there when I was 8. Met you around the, I don't know, it was what, 9 or 10-ish?
Yeah.
I don't even remember how we met. Did we meet at the pool?
I don't remember.
Something like that.
You know what
Through
bugs
family,
me?
something like that.
That your parents still pay school taxes.
I pay school taxes.
You pay school taxes.
I have no kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, how, and the part that bugs me about that is you're going to charge people taxes whose kids don't go there or don't even have kids,
Yeah.
and then make kids pay for school lunch. That is the part that irks me a little bit. Like, isn't everything supposed to be included?
Also, pay the teachers well.
They do get paid well. I don't know. I looked at my high school coach, for example. The dude's making, with the coaching job, 6 figures.
That's pretty good. Okay.
So,
Yeah, that's not bad money.
yeah.
but they belong to a union, so
So then they can kind of strong arm.
we pay for the union.
Mm.
So that union fights to get them higher pay, i.e., they fight to tax us more. And I thought, wow, we paid for the salary and for the union. And those union officials make a lot of money too.
I was going to say, there's got to be money going into that as well.
Yes.
Jeez. How'd you learn about this? Just got curious one day and started looking it up?
No, I as a homeowner. So, any of you own a house? All right. So,
Well,
Like
you,
Luke
you live
does.
in a house that your
Yeah.
brother owns. But
Yeah, exactly. We were renting it until last year.
yeah.
so I have to pay school taxes, and it's a significant sum. And if I don't pay my school taxes, guess what happens?
Jail, probably.
They take your house away.
Ah.
So they can auction your house, right? But what really happens is somebody else can go pay your taxes.
And then
And
take ownership of your
That's
house.
right. There's a term in that.
Wow.
But somebody else can pay your taxes, and by the way, you don't have to know.
So somebody could just snake your house out from underneath you while you're going
Yes.
through some sort of a legal suit.
Yep.
Over paying.
So then they own your title, or whatever it's called, deed.
Deed.
Yeah.
So what are like the average local school taxes? Did you
$2,000
$2,000? I mean,
a
it's
year.
not that much, but it is that much, especially to like people who don't have a lot of income. You know, people who are only making a certain amount a year. And
Well, think about it.
When
It's-
you have your property tax on top of that, it's a lot.
Right,
well,
if you-
$2,000 is like somebody's net for a month. Like what's
Right.
left over
Yeah.
after bills.
that's a 12th of what you're making in a year. Yeah.
Yep.
yeah, that's a good way to put it too. Yeah, that's kind of fucked up. Now, how does it like go by bracket? Does it go by the size of your house,
Yep.
or is it just?
Whatever it's assessed at, that's what that house owes to the township every year.
So like if my house is 150,000 and the guy down the and I have kids, but the guy down the street with a 1.5 million dollar house is going to be paying 10 times the amount
Yeah.
I
He's-
am,
he's
and he
paying
doesn't
for your-
even have kids.
He's paying for your kids to go to school.
See, that's kind of I'm all for educating the kids, but that's a little we got to do better on that.
I think I live with someone that's a family of 9, all homeschooled, right?
Mm-hmm.
They pay school taxes. They get nothing. So I'm thinking they should get 9 kids worth of
Yeah.
taxes. Should be. That's
Or something. I mean,
Yeah.
but they got nothing.
right.
And this is me talking with an Aussie. They come from a socialized country.
Right.
And when I expressed to him my thing that I shouldn't be paying for somebody's schools to go to have your kids go to school, he was flabbergasted. Like, well, why not? It's everybody should be educated.
Right.
Well, how was it 100 years ago? Right, there was no school tax 100 years ago.
Yeah, that's a good point too. I mean, the money's got to come from somewhere, but you got to find better reasons to justify it. And I don't think it's right to. I mean, it's like paying. I don't know. It's like taxing somebody for something that they didn't buy.
Yes,
In my opinion.
which again is they use the word equity now? Is it equitable for someone that doesn't have kids to pay
No.
for some? Right. So
There's no equity in that.
why does the word, well, they use equities as a synonym for equality. But one of my soldiers is an inspector for school buses. So we did kind of a mental math, like how many school buses do you think roll in this country every day?
Like
And
drive?
Yeah, they have to be used to take kids to school.
I don't know.
It's a lot. It's got to be millions.
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 That's right.
180 days a year.
That is a lot of diesel engines spooling up. People talk about climate change.
Right.
So we have to do
Some
that.
of some of those are propane too. Right?
I haven't seen any.
Yeah.
But he was telling me how much it costs, and I'm like, dang, my school district has to pay those millions of dollars. And those millions come from the few thousand houses we have. So anyhow, it's just
Wow.
And that's not including the building, their taxes for the building,
Mhm.
the teachers inside,
Mhm.
food, supplies,
Yep.
water,
Well,
electric.
the schools definitely need to be more held accountable for the things that they spend their money on sometimes as well. Because I remember my high school, we didn't even have ceilings. Our textbooks were outdated. And somebody who was an alumni of my high school passed away, who did very well for themselves and left like $2 or $3 million in their will to the high school.
mm-hmm.
The high school, rather than buying ceilings or buying new textbooks or doing anything like that, they went out and bought a new sign. It's like they spent $2 million or $3 million on some LED light up sign
to advertise for their business, right?
Yeah, like it's as if you have a choice to go to another school, which you don't, which is the other thing. That's a big topic
Yep.
in the country right now. I mean, these lies.
So nobody talks about the cost of schooling and how it's tied to your ability to stay in your house. Because when this country was, I'm an immigrant, right? So I had to study the civics and be tested by a U.S. government person when I went to get my citizenship. That they tested you oral questions, and we had to know about how this country was founded. And private property was a right. Like you nobody could take your private property. And now we are renting our property.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like that, right? So wait till you own a house, by the way.
The thing is, that's messed up. It's like you can pay off your house, you can pay off your car, you can pay off everything, but you're no longer in debt to the government until the day you die. There's an estate tax. There is is it a grievance tax, something like that? There's something else that's like super fucked up. Inheritance.
But you see what older people are doing now? They're doing, you buy a house, make payments, you get to a certain age, now reverse mortgage. Have you seen that?
Mm-mm.
Well, you see it on TV advertised, right? Like Tom Selleck is advertising it. So it's like, well, we will buy your house and we will pay you on your house credit. And in so many years, we own it. So now you have nothing to pass to your kids.
But you had money until you died. They take ownership of your house, then they pay you. They do like a rent to own on your property until you die, right? And then they own your property.
But basically, you're going to be paying a significantly smaller amount.
You don't pay anything.
They'll
pay you. They'll pay
you
you to live in your house until you die, and then they own it.
Your house is already paid off before that.
Fuck them kids.
Well, yes.
But you spent your entire life paying for that house
Yeah.
Yeah.
just for somebody else to own it when you die now.
Well, okay. So now is this something where it's like the house already has to be paid off, or they'll take over your mortgage if you still have
They'll
one?
take over your mortgage. But if it's paid off, it's better.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Is there stipulation to it, like a certain age and amount?
Yes, actually, there is for reverse mortgage. There is a certain age, hence why all the people on TV are of a certain age pitching it.
They want to know how long they're going to have to pay you, right?
It's kind of mathematically well thought out.
It's going to be more lucrative for them to pay somebody who's 55 than me who's 26.
Yes,
Exactly.
Yeah.
but it didn't used to be like this. That's the thing. So
The thing is, you can really bend and twist money. Numbers are a crazy thing. That's why a lot of people, it takes a genius to get into physics, like Ryan. Like numbers are the key to everything. I don't know where I'm going with this. That sounded way more philosophical than it was. But
inflation.
Inflation?
Remember how we're talking? Like, don't get caught with cash.
Mhm.
We're experiencing that now. That's for sure.
Yeah.
By Dogecoin.
Shrinkflation. Have you guys seen that?
Shrinkflation.
Nuh-uh.
I'm sure you have. All right. So how much, who's buried in grants too? How much was a half gallon of OJ?
A half-gallon orange juice. I don't know.
It was half gallon. But guess what the size is now for what used to be the half gallon container?
What?
Oh, like 56 ounces instead of 64.
So they're just like cutting down on the amount, but just a small amount where you won't notice it, but enough that it'll make up over
But the
time.
price is the same.
And the price
Right.
is the same.
So it's sustained price inflation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you buy a kielbasa, right, it used to be a pound. Well, how much is a pound of kielbasa now in weight?
12 ounces?
Yeah.
14?
I don't
12
think
to
I've ever
14.
had kielbasa. I know. That's like pretty popular in Romania, isn't it?
In a way, but how have you not had it?
I don't know. It looks good. I'd try it for sure. I just like,
That's actually very strange.
is
I
it?
haven't had that.
What exactly is kielbasa? Like, it's clearly meat, but like what?
It's just a style of sausage.
I
It's
brought-
a sausage.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just depends on the meat content and the seasoning, I would assume, right?
Yes. And the one you find at the store is pretty much machine made.
Right.
But it used to be wrapped in something. I don't know. How do you say it?
Intestines?
In intestines.
Mm,
yes.
yeah, that's how they did it for a long time with a lot of things. So, do you like? I mean, there's multiple ways to consume kielbasa.
Yes.
What's the
Mostly through your mouth.
Yes.
okay? So
So,
Thanks, Chris.
well, the way they used to make it is you kind of raw. So you have your ground beef and you mix it with all your spices in a big vat, and you had a hand crank that went through
And just
this is graphic, but
Yeah.
it went through a pipe, and the pipe had all the intestines like on it.
Yep.
So as the thing went, the intestine came up filled with meat, and you just twisted it. What do you want to have your break? This is how I grew up with it, right? And then you kind of boil it, which is minimal cooking, and store it, or you can dry it. That's the
boil
tradition.
it.
Well, yeah, you boil it to cook it, but you're not really cooking it. You're just preserving
so
it.
it's not raw.
Yeah, I
right.
guess. Well, I guess yeah. The intestines would keep it from losing the flavor. It would conceal it inside. Now, do you just like cut the intestine off and then eat it, or do you?
You
eat
can
it with the
eat-
intestine?
You can eat the whole
intestine,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Like what you do is you fry it, and when you fry it, it just bursts with flavor.
Ooh, I would try it.
But you can
Where's a good place to get kielbasa around here?
Appleton, Wisconsin.
Okay,
around here.
Oh, sorry, I was there last week. They're famous for that.
Really?
Quite Germanic there.
Wisconsin,
Appleton,
Appleton.
it's Germanic.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right. By the way, I guess
Road trip.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be a long road trip.
Will you fly us there?
I flew out there.
one at a time.
Well, I can fit. I can take 3.
By the way, actually, we probably should have mentioned this at some point at the beginning. Marian here, we've known each other for probably, going on. I've known Dave for 11 years, so I met you around then, I think.
Yeah.
I was probably like around
14.
I was 15 when Dave started dating my sister. And then, so I probably met you when I was like 16, 17. So I've
Wow.
known you for a minute now. But yeah, we've known each other for a while. You are what, former Marine, current Army,
Mm-hmm.
and then also a commercial airline pilot.
Yep.
And just really into aviation.
Yep.
Born in Romania. When did you move here, actually? I never knew that.
Oh, we moved in right after 5th grade. So as we had a dictator growing up. There was no end of. We couldn't see the end of dictatorship, and my parents made a decision to flee. Little did we know that 3 years after we left, the dictatorship went down in flames. They put
Okay.
him in a ditch and shot him with an AK.
Okay. Romanian.
Oh,
AK. Yeah. They make the best AKs. So
They do.
yeah, they really do.
I have 3.
Wow. So what you just, I mean, it was gone. What made you guys choose not to go back home? Or did you, is America just now your new home and you wanted to?
Well, after a nation fails and they start over, it's chaos. So everyone was
It's almost worse.
It's almost worse. Like, imagine all of a sudden
Almost.
the cops aren't doing anything.
Nobody's paying them off. Nobody's.
Yeah. Well, they went back their old ways in about 2 years, but for a while it was lawlessness. People went and settled scores. Like in my town, people walked over to people that wronged them and hammered them in the head.
Oh my god! So it was just anarchy, basically.
It was. I mean, it wasn't blood in the streets and all that, but people settled scores at night.
That's insane.
Like my dad said, if he was there, he would have walked over to a policeman's house and killed him. Like this policeman tortured my dad.
Holy shit! I'm
And
sorry.
so he probably, well, it wasn't like pulling nails, nothing, but beat him up
yeah.
while my dad was tied up. And he's probably done it to hundreds of people. And my dad's like, I would have gone over and killed him the next day.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, if he's done it to him, and you said he's probably done it to hundreds of other people, I can understand the train of thought behind that.
Mm-hmm.
It's stopping the problem at the source.
But now it's a great place. I recommend anyone visit.
What would be a good place to visit in Romania?
The capital. So Bucharest is capital, and,
Okay.
and then you go up in the mountains. And they also got about 50 miles of beach
Oh, boy.
in the North Sea. It is the North Sea, right?
I think so. I don't know. You're probably better at geography than me because, you fly planes and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. I know Pennsylvania pretty well. The rest of the world, yeah. Quite frankly, if you gave me a map of like Europe and like all that area, I probably would not be able to point Romania out on a map.
Well, give it a shot.
Romania is between
You
Ukraine and Russia.
No.
No.
not between.
Close.
Close.
Yeah, not between.
So where is it?
Next.
Next to Ukraine?
Yeah.
There isn't a
Below
between.
Russia.
Below Russia.
There-
Next to Bosnia?
Above Bulgaria.
Above Bulgaria.
Next to Hungary.
Next to Hungary.
Yeah.
Luke went to Hungary.
He told me.
They have really
a girl?
good. Yeah. His ex-girlfriend now. They have really good paprika out there, man.
Wait,
Hungary.
what's paprika?
You've never had paprika?
Isn't it a sausage?
No, it's a spice.
It's a spice.
Oh, it's which goes in a sausage.
Oh yeah. It's
Yeah.
in a lot
Yeah.
of different. Yeah, I put it on pretty much everything. Honestly, I love me some paprika.
He told me about what's the capital of
Hungary,
Budapest.
Budapest. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, he told me about it.
he went to Hungary and Austria. He got me a T-shirt. It looks like a warning, like road sign, like a yellow triangle or yellow like diamond shaped sign,
Mm-hmm.
and it has like a kangaroo on it. It says "No kangaroos in Austria." Just makes me chuckle a little bit.
There's no relation to that.
Well, because everybody gets Austria
Australia.
and Australia
Oh my
mixed
God.
up, which is one thing I like to do to gun people. I like to fuck with people and be like, "Oh yeah, no, Australians make great Glocks." Like, just it like irritates people so bad. They're like, "What'd you say?"
Well, people don't know Glocks made in Austria.
Yeah.
Wait, don't we have Glock USA?
We do have Glock USA as well, but I'm not entirely sure of the whole dynamic of the situation. I'm not gonna. I would be speaking on my ass, but yeah.
What makes me sad is they in Austria don't have kind of a right to own a Glock.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
So it's
How-
only export or a majority export.
I guess
So-
I should say.
military, police, stuff like that.
I think all the Glocks we buy here are made here for some reason.
No, I think so.
Does it say-
Actually, now that I think about it, so for the military to get a government contract,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, your firearms need to be manufactured in the U.S.
Yes.
Kind of like how the military just switched from using Colt for their rifles. Now they're using FN. FN just opened up FN America, I believe, in Tennessee, somewhere down south.
Mm-hmm.
That is going to be producing all the rifles for the military. Because
So-
FN is
So they just put the slide on and go, look, we made a gun.
basically for the most part, I think. Yeah. So I think that's why, because
Like part A, part B.
Glock has had numerous military contracts. They just lost it recently with the sidearm because they came out with the Glock 19X, which is the 19 slide with the 17 frame, which is basically a 45, which I don't, but they had to call it the 19X for government reasons.
People were making those for a long time, though. Right? 19 slide with a 17.
It's already been a gun. It's
Yeah.
the Glock 45, the G45. But now it went to the M17, which is the SIG P320.
That's the one we're adopting, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I haven't shot it.
Dad has one. It's pretty nice. Yeah.
But not the new rifle. We still have the Colts, and they made a change to them. They're no longer semi. Well, so it was to be semi and 3-round burst,
Mm-hmm.
and now they punched the burst out and put full.
Ah.
So now our rifles are full auto.
I always thought they were full auto.
No, wait, you thought so?
Yeah, I always thought the military had full auto.
No,
No shit.
Well,
since like the 90s.
not if they were firing their own weapon.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, like military contractors and stuff, they can get a Form 3 or a whatever it is,
Yes.
and then use that for their own contracting work.
So we go to war. So I was, and we just know how to fire single shot, right? So as Marines, right, single shot, aimed rounds. You go against the Iraqis, they'll just empty the magazine.
Mhm.
Right.
That's frightening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when you want like suppressive fire.
Right. Volume of fire matters most in the first few seconds, and they just empty and pray. Like if Allah wants you to have the bullet, you'll take it.
They're just sending 7.62s down at you.
Yes.
God.
So now we have them full auto, but we still don't train full auto.
Why not?
What?
We don't. We don't. There's no course of fire that incorporates full auto that I've ever heard of.
So how do you prepare to shoot a full auto weapon without any training?
You can.
Because it's terrifying to pull the trigger for the first time and expect one shot
Yes.
and get a magazine.
Yes.
I mean, they'll still let you fire at full auto. There's just no training drills for it, correct?
Never seen it happen. So,
Oh.
but since a lot of times, if you fail the qual, you get another chance at it. So most of the times I completely fuck up my first or second try just because I like to shoot and like, oh, you failed. You got to go again on range.
Darn.
Darn, yes. So one time I did. I had a magazine of 20 and I just held the trigger.
Bum, 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 bum.
Oops.
But you know, when there's 30 of you firing, it sounds like a full auto range.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I thought, I smiled. They looked around. By the time they looked around, they didn't know who did it. Except that one of us wasn't firing after that.
Except your magazine was empty.
Yeah, I was my targets would come up and they look at me and I'm like,
There's a giant hole in this, guys. We fired at ranges side by side though, and even with pistols, if you get into the right rhythm, it almost sounds like automatic gunfire.
Mhm.
yes.
Yeah.
It's just one after another after another after another. You
I'll
know,
film
2 or 3 people.
I'll film myself shooting sometimes just so I can like watch my form to see what I can improve on. And there's one video I took recently. It was like around the 4th of July where I'm shooting and this dude beside me is shooting. And like for a couple seconds, it sounds like I'm shooting full auto because we're just bam, 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 bam.
There's
bam.
times I've done that at the range where I turn to look, like who is just firing full auto,
Uh-huh.
and I realize it's 2 or 3 people that just started shooting at the same time, which makes sense.
Have you guys ever heard of Mil-Spec Mojo?
No.
He's a former Marine, current law
That's
enforcement.
my people.
And yeah, and he is he makes like YouTube videos. He does videos with a few YouTubers I watch in the gun community, and he is fast at everything. Like his rate of fire when he shoots, it sounds like it's full auto, but he's shooting a semi-automatic rifle, and I do not understand how he does it. Well, I do. He did a video on how to do it, and he says he just count your shots while you're doing it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then kind of get into a cadence with it. And just get yourself into a rhythm, the same thing you would with like practicing drum roll or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how he told himself how to shoot fast. And I mean, you cannot tell the difference between him semi-auto and full auto.
I'm going to have to look him up.
Yeah, do it. Him and Grantham made a really good video together. Grantham is like one of my favorite YouTubers right now.
Never heard of him.
He is
Also a gun guy?
Yeah, he is. What's the Air Force version of like Green Beret?
Oh, PJs. Parajumpers.
Yes. There's another one. Morsock? No, that's not right. That's
That's just their organization that helps them, but
trying to think of what it is. SAPS.
no,
Yeah.
I don't know what that stands for. And I'm in the military.
Maybe it's specialized air.
Could be.
I don't remember. Alan explained it to me one day, but yeah, no, that is what he does. He's in the Air Force, and then he's also a government contractor, and then he just does a ton of like gun and gear reviews, and he's
Is that-
very funny.
Not in Florida, is he?
No, he's in Washington State.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know, right? Weird place for somebody to be with.
Well,
that
they
runs
have
a gun channel.
McCord. That's their big base there.
The Air Force.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So wait, with you being a pilot, why didn't you ever go into the Air Force?
Special access
They
program?
wouldn't take me.
They wouldn't take you?
The Air Force wouldn't take me.
Why?
I'm not that smart.
Oh, you have to have a college degree, don't you?
Well, I was in grad school. But this is when I was looking to get in, it was 98. And we had that nasty decade of peace. Like government surpluses and peace. The terrible 90s. Gas was under $1 a gallon. Seriously, it was it was like the best era ever. It was Clinton was president, and we had government surpluses, and it was the worst time to go to military because they were drawing down.
Mm-hmm.
So when you went to apply for pilot slots, no, we are decreasing our pilot slots. So I went to the Air Force, and they said no. I went to the Navy. They said no. I didn't know the Marines had airplanes.
Mm-hmm.
And one day I was at on lunch at the Union Building at school, and outside, and this Marine Corps helicopter comes in, hovers over us, and puts down on the grass next to us. And I thought that's pretty nice. And the guys came out, and I talked to them, and they're like, "Well, we fly this on the weekends, and during the week we go skiing." And that was in Utah, right? You guys ski?
No.
I snowboarded a little bit when I was in high school, but
But you're from here, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
We got Round Top. Like, you guys don't ski?
Mm-mm. Chris, you were snowboarding for a little while.
I still do.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy, but I do it.
Yeah, so Utah is the Mecca almost. People say Colorado, but I say Utah. So these guys are like, we fly this, and then we ski. And I said, that's what I want to do. And the next day, the Marine Corps called me the next day. So that was very interesting. I didn't expect such fast turnaround. And like, hey, do you want to come get a helicopter ride? So I thought that was the coolest thing. And then the next day, they're like, hey, we're going to do a workout. So I'm like, well, that's great too. So yeah, they got me in hook, line, and sinker.
No shit.
But they're like, look, we have hundreds of airplanes.
So were you a pilot for the Marines then?
Yeah. They offered an air contract, i.e., you go to flight school,
Mm-hmm.
and if you pass, you're a pilot.
So you went.
I accepted that, and what I didn't know is you go to flight school, but first you go to the officer version of boot camp, OCS.
Right.
I think like 60% passed for us, 65.
So it's like a harder version of boot camp.
Boot camp was like 98%.
Okay.
But on the officer side, they'll torture you. You get sleep deprived. You get stressed. Like their point is, they want to see who can take it. Like I've seen dudes like break down
Yeah.
and like throw their rifle in a creek and toss a helmet down, and they could just get walked out and through the gate, and it's like, see you later.
Damn.
Or like the first weekend they let us off base.
Mm-hmm.
This is like a month or so in. 6 of us didn't show back up. They just kept driving.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So I guess they can call you AWOL, but they didn't go after them.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
gonna say, is there any legal recourse to that or anything? But-
There is, but they don't chase you.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
would say you signed a contract at that point, right?
you had signed a contract, right?
Just to get to boot camp, right?
Just to get, it's OCS for us, Officer Candidate School. But I guess you can fail out of that. So I'm not sure how valid a contract is.
So if you don't show back up, you fail.
You
right?
fail,
Okay.
yeah. Like we had, and they'll kick you out for like the smallest reasons, which after a while they didn't. Like we had a guy who had 7 masters. He worked for the Department of State. He worked for, back then it was a woman called Madeleine Albright. Might have been our,
That sounds familiar.
she was high up in government.
Okay.
He had worked for her. He was 30, which older than all of us. But he could run 3 miles under 15 minutes. This
my
dude was a
gosh.
gazelle. They kicked him out because he had no command presence. Like
Right.
he couldn't look you confidently in the eye and tell you what to do.
I got you. So like they look for that kind of stuff, like who's going to be a leader, like, and if you're not showing leader tendencies,
Yep.
then it- not gonna, okay. I mean, it's smart. You got to do that.
Go into a different branch, right?
No, they just kicked him out.
But I
Like
mean,
straight up kicked him out of the military. Like honorable discharge?
But you're
or-
not in the military. You're not in the military
No,
until
they
you
just
graduate.
cut your yeah.
Oh,
You just
okay,
lose your
gotcha.
contract. But I mean, you can just apply and go into a different branch if you.
You
didn't-
could try again the next year, yeah. But the dude was making 3-4 times more money on the outside. He just wanted to prove himself as a Marine. And we had a dude that was like 5'4", and he was on his second try. And that guy made it
Wow.
just fine. Like he motivated me.
That's insane.
Yeah. We hated him because there is a run that we do where we carry like a telephone pole. And
Like you,
he can't help. Like, so what we do is we all put it on our shoulders and we run with it. And
I just picture him in the middle, but he's hanging, like not touching the ground.
right. So you go from tallest to shortest, but when it got to the shortest, he was too short for the shortest.
Right.
His name
So
was, yeah, I can't say his
slick.
name, but he couldn't hold the freaking pole. So he got a freebie on that. And that run sucks with the pole because it just destroys your collarbone.
how far do you have to go?
Well, and you're all
2 miles or so.
and you're in a row, right?
Yeah.
you
So
gotta
if you're not all in the same stride,
Yeah.
you're just
It
getting the
hurts.
shit beat out of your
Yes.
shoulder.
Like 2 or 3 of you are always on the outside and you sub in. So you do get a break. And the best part is crossing a lake, which you just float to the log. So, but then you're running with it with sand and shit in your pants. And that just,
Right.
Oh, that sounds like Chafe City right there.
it is.
Yeah.
But also, if you float it in the creek, you have to then get it out of the creek, right?
Now it's slippery.
What
Right.
happens if you lose it in the creek?
I mean,
Nobody did.
I don't think that's an option.
Yeah.
If you lose it, you got to track it down, find it,
Yeah,
bring
you,
it back.
you come back. Yep.
Oh, you should see it. Like that log is tortured. They'll make you do sit-ups with it. Like all of you sit in line and you hold the log.
Oh
and do
my God.
sit-ups.
I've seen. There was a TV show on one day, and I was just flipping through the channels, and it was like Navy SEAL training or something like that, and they had like a telephone pole like that, and they had to, hold it out for so long, and then lift it up above their head for so long, and then bring it back down. Or it's like, yeah, they would like hold it on one side, hold it up, and then bring it down on their left side, and it looked absolutely brutal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, one of those are probably what, 500 pounds?
Yeah.
Yeah. Something
There's
about right.
places where they do that for sport. They do telephone pole tosses.
Yes.
You pick it up and you get a run with it. You throw it like a javelin, like
Is it the men in skirts?
yeah,
Yes.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
Scots.
kilts. Yeah.
Kilts.
They start with it on their shoulder. They pick it up off the ground, and then you get a running start, and you basically just end over end as far as you can.
No shit.
I haven't seen that in ages.
It's
on
been
TV.
a long time.
I
Yeah.
forgot about that. I was watching shot put on the Olympics last night. I was sitting down at
Yes.
the bar, and I was just like, these guys are monsters. They're huge guys.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, like, imagine you're at a bar, right? I'm sitting at a bar watching this. I'm like, imagine sitting at a bar and a girl comes up to you and is like, what do you do? It's
I
like,
throw a ball from my cheek really far.
I throw really heavy balls really far. And like, imagine if the girl fires back at you, like, yeah, I want to see you throw your
It does-
balls. What?
It is impressive,
Where did
but
that
it is
name
very
come
strange.
from?
Shot put?
I was
don't know.
I was thinking that today. Like,
That's a good question.
Where's
I could
the
probably
put
answer.
come from, and why shot? And I'm thinking shot. Like the nearest I can think of is like cannonball shot. Back in the days was solid.
Maybe you're
Iron.
seeing where you can put the shot.
Yeah, like
Perhaps.
javelin throw. You got it. It's a javelin. You throw it.
Did you see that?
Discus throw. Okay.
Did you see that one guy that broke the world record and it landed like 3 feet in front of a cameraman?
No.
Like, oh yeah, the dude broke the world record and like the cameraman standing there like, oh, nobody's ever gonna make it this far, and it lands 3 feet in front of him, like almost got impaled from the sky.
No, and I'm so curious because it happens when we're at night for us, right?
The Olympics?
Yeah.
For the most part, yeah. Actually, well, no, isn't it on 24/7, or do they not do that anymore?
Well, I think you might catch reruns, but
That's true.
It originated from an ancient sport of putting the stone. So I'm assuming that was basically throwing a stone. So then I'm assuming it probably just got translated into
That's right, 'cause
shot put. Right.
I wonder what it is, how it translates in other languages. So
Yeah. I imagine that's got to be like a UK, like United Kingdom, England, Scotland, Ireland sport of some, because like
Middle
that sounds-
Ages, they used to throw cannonballs.
That's what I was
now
thinking.
Now they throw it like a ball bearing. I mean, it's big, but it's not a
Mhm.
cannonball.
How heavy is it? Does it say?
Hmm.
I'm gonna
Good
guess. I'm gonna guess 8 kilograms.
That's what?
15, 16 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
That's
16 pounds on the dot. Yeah.
really.
Women's competition, 8.8 pounds. Men's competition is 16 pounds.
All right. So what's an average throw? Somehow, I was thinking. Somebody said 70 meters, but I'm thinking now it was the hammer throw.
What's the hammer throw? You're throwing an actual hammer?
Well, I guess it could have been in the past, but I think it's a shot put at the end of a chain.
Oh, so like a mace almost?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly. And they they lob it up.
Handle and all? Or
Yeah.
does the
Oh,
ball
yeah.
I
at
don't
least?
think it has a handle.
Were you using the swing?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
It has just
Yeah.
like a big. It's like a chain. I think like the last link is like a big link or something. It's like it doesn't have like a handle, right?
What is you? I think it does have some kind of something to grab onto. It's not just a straight
What's it called? Hammer throw?
hammer throw.
Oh, yeah.
They kind of throw it almost. It's set up almost like they do shot put, except they like spin around.
I think they use the same
yeah. I've
It's like
seen
the
that
same
before.
course at least, or the same platform.
as the discus throw.
You basically
Yeah.
use the inertia and centrifugal force if you spin.
Oh, yeah. I know exactly what this is. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it made the news because one of our
You're rotating in place.
Yeah.
yes,
Yep.
and you get that wrong, and
Yeah.
your body goes one way.
Right.
What is that? The second law of, is that the first law?
Motion and
Equal and opposite?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because you put some momentum into
Right.
it, which is
You're counterweighting yourself with that.
Yeah.
When you break that, it's not just that going. Yeah. You have to lean into when you let go of it.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you're splitting equal directions, right? Yeah.
Pretty much.
well, we
So-
made the news right today with that.
What did we do? Did we break the record?
No, we came almost last, and it was well, it was like poetic justice because the girl who came in almost last had vowed to protest if she got on the stand on the podium.
Mm.
So all of us who care about patriotism and such and the American flag were like, you see, that's what you get.
Exactly. Kind of like the women's soccer team.
Wished it upon yourself.
Yes.
So 2015, the Olympic World Championship first place was 71.5 feet shot put throw.
Feet or meters?
Feet.
Oh, for shot put. What
Shot put.
Yeah, I think it's meters for hammer.
You would think it would all be metric system because the rest of the world uses the metric system.
It is metric.
It
It's
is.
we just call it feet because Americans don't know what a meter is.
You're not wrong.
I mean, yeah. I've never had to use a meter.
What does mean?
Yeah. Well, so back in like the 30s when we had
2015 world record 86.74 meters for hammer throw.
yeah,
That is
So-
crazy.
yeah. Well, our girl I think got like 70 meters.
240, 250, 284 feet. Yeah. Wow.
I'm curious now. Only 3 countries use the imperial system: U.S., Liberia, and Myanmar.
Are you kidding me?
Yep. Yeah, I think it's time we just convert.
Well, when you guys were like wee babies, we had we crashed a space probe onto Mars. And it's a big deal to launch it into space, make it travel. You know, you have to sling it around the Earth, it goes to Mars. You got to do programming, and then you crash it. So they crashed it because whoever input the parameters did it in U.S. versus metric. It's like because it's a international project, right?
Uh-huh.
Everybody knows meters, but the American guys are like, I'll put in inches. And the damn thing burnt in.
Oh my god! Is that what happened on Apollo 11 as well? That's a fucked up joke. I shouldn't.
Wait, 11 was the movie, right?
Apollo 11? I thought that was one that exploded during launch.
Oh, then 13 was the movie
Now I got to look
with
it up.
Tom Hanks. Yeah, 11, I have no clue about 11.
Yeah, Apollo.
But you were talking about slingshotting with orbit, right?
Yeah,
You rotate with orbit until you can
I'm sorry.
break orbit.
I think
Wait, is it?
Yeah, I don't know because they try to push it further and out, further and further,
Right.
and all of a sudden, boom, give it a shot over.
Hmm.
Like whoever would have thought about that?
I know we've used other planets' orbit to be able to change direction,
Mm-hmm.
which is really interesting to me. You basically come into orbit just to change direction, and then you
Yeah.
break orbit again.
And think about the
Apollo
calculations.
13.
Right.
Like
You have to know the impact of that planet's orbit, where you come in and where you go out.
and it's moving the whole time
yeah.
across. So you have
Right.
to with shooting, aim it where it's gonna be.
Right.
I never thought about that aspect of it either, actually.
What's that?
Like the planets orbiting and having to use that to your advantage and also find a way to
Account
use
for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Wow.
That's what comets do.
Right.
We
It's
had-
even crazier
Yeah.
when it's like, okay, so you can pinpoint a spot on the Earth because we've got GPS, but you're going somewhere that does not have GPS there. So
Yeah.
you have to like, that's weird.
Do we have like obviously we have space stations. We haven't
Wait.
acquired spaceships that
Oh yeah,
like can just travel in space, right? Like
they're
just-
doing it.
They're doing it like not very far though, right?
And what you think of the big flying penis?
The Bezomobile.
He got. It's technically he's not an astronaut.
No, he's
Yeah, technically. Yeah.
But when you saw what was it that Mike Myers movie, Austin Powers, the second one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the whole opening monologue is about a flying penis.
Yep. Yeah, when those memes started hitting the internet, I was dying. I was like, "Oh my god, it does look the same." All he needs is a mini me.
And now you can't show an Asian guy saying dong, because that's racist.
It's true. Fucking Mike Myers. Those movies were golden, and as much as I want
Golden
them,
member.
Yes.
as much as I want them to make another one, they'll just screw it up. They can't make the same jokes they used to.
You can't.
You can't start again. Yeah. It's you just have to relish in the old times, right?
Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
I remember we were in Romania as a kid, and VCRs just started to get snuck in. So this is 84, 85, 86. And if you want to buy one on the black market, which you can't go to the store, it would cost you roughly 2 years worth of salary
My
for
God.
one VCR. But we got American movies in. And it was the first time I ever saw boobies in movies. And if you look at American movies from the early 80s, it was standard to
Right.
see toplessness.
Well, I guess that's kind of before the whole CDC, or not the CDC, the fucking FCC. Jeez.
But
Right.
they passed it for the 70s and 80s. It was normal to see movies. I remember we got the Police Academy movie, and there's boobies in it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, wow, the freedom of the West, we can't get that here, except at the beach.
And I got to look through a wall.
I had to look through it and be lifted.
You gotta get, yeah, exactly. Or get a box.
Yeah. So,
So wait, question, because I'm not super good with geography and history. Who was the communist dictator at the time?
his name was Ceausescu.
Ceausescu.
And by the way, started out great. Like all dictators start out great. I am a fan.
They're
of-
saying what you want to hear. They're doing what you want to do.
I am a fan of the beginning stages of any dictatorship. So I support a dictatorship.
Okay.
Well, that's how it works, right? They get you on their side. Yeah.
They get shit done.
Then they start pointing you in the direction, and you go, wait.
Well, no, yeah. So if you look at them all through history, there's very few dictators that just said, "Okay, I'm done. I've done the good things. I'm going to leave now." Name the first one.
None. So where do they
No,
go
no,
wrong?
I'll name you. Name you the first one. Julius Caesar.
Oh.
Right. So they went to him, it's like, "Save us," and he's like, "Well, I can, but you have to make me a dictator." And they're like, "Okay," and then he stepped down. He's like, "I've done what you said. I'm done." And a year or two later, he got called to the version of parliament. They stabbed him. His friend stabbed him too. He's like, remember the saying, like, "Et tu, Brutus"?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Why did they stab him? For stepping down, or?
this is years later. Because he was very popular and he wasn't a crony, and he was saying what the reality was, and they couldn't handle him, and
Mm.
they called him down to maybe the Senate, whichever one it was. And his friends are like, "Don't go. They're going to kill you." And he's like, well, what else can I do? I'd like to go. He didn't think he was going to get killed. But yeah, they stabbed him.
No shit.
Each of them got a blade into him, and even his friend did. And he just bled out. But yeah, dictatorships.
21 times, right?
I don't know.
Something like that.
I don't know. But he was the first one to say, by the way, great career, if you ever read about him.
Yeah, I'm embarrassed I don't know enough about Julius Caesar, honestly.
Yeah.
So where did things start going wrong with, well, I'm sorry, what was the guy's name again?
Ceausescu.
Ceausescu.
What Americans can say, sh.
Sure.
We say it in she, but if I say it in a word like Ceausescu, Americans are like, head explodes.
Yeah.
So what is the actual pronunciation?
Ceausescu.
Ceausescu.
Shescu.
Sheshku.
Yeah, that's close enough.
Ceausescu.
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
So he was good for the first decade or so. My mom says they loved him. So my mom's generation, and then they all turned bad because they want to stay in. So to stay in, you have to, well, do bad things, like have a secret police. So I remember the first time they came to our house and they're like, "We have to fix your phone." And they're like, "Well, there's nothing wrong with our phone." And they insisted to get in our house and fix our phone. And what they did is they were going around putting microphones in everyone's phones. So,
what?
yeah.
So like OG Watergate, basically.
Well, remember, there's like maybe one phone per street. Not very few people had phones. So there was enough. There wasn't so many that you couldn't handle recording almost all of them in the country. So you can go search for your file now and listen to yourself speak in the 80s.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Say at one point there used to be shared phone lines, right? You would have a string of houses that would share a phone line. Everybody's.
I never heard of that.
Yeah.
So somehow word went out that our town was going to get like 20 phones. And my aunt was like the first one I've heard it. So she quickly ran to the list maker and listed all of us. So when I grew up, I thought everybody had a phone because everyone I knew had a phone. But it turns out it was only us. Me and like 4 or 5 aunts and uncles had phones.
Wow.
So
people would walk down at any time, knock on your door, and be like, "Can I make a phone call?"
I was just going to ask that. Yep.
Or they would call you and be like, we have a message for so-and-so. So me as a kid in the dead of winter, I have to dress up, like run 10 minutes down the street and get someone to come over. It was just a nice courtesy.
Yeah, that is a nice courtesy. Yeah, it's a different world that we live in now because people wouldn't do that shit for anybody.
No.
I mean,
But I
borrow
noticed-
somebody's cell phone, and I get it for good reason. People
Now I don't even answer when people call.
Yes, yes. Now, everyone I knew had their phones in like the worst possible place in the house. So as a kid, I'm like, why do you keep your phone there? It's cold. It's unlit. Well, it turns out we all knew they were bugged. So we put it where we wouldn't hang out and have
In
discussions.
the garage or out of the way, yeah.
Because the mic was always on.
Right. You don't want it in the living room or in the kitchen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
So there's anecdotes of our dictator's wife kind of being in the presence of the listeners, and she would like pipe in, and people would talk shit about her, and she would go livid, and then people would disappear.
Wow.
Oh my god!
That is crazy.
Dude, my neighbor
I didn't even know about all that.
down the street disappeared, and they're like, "Well, we think he was overheard telling a joke on a bus." People could turn you in, right, for just stupid shit.
Yeah.
And I saw him about 2-3 years later. And nobody talks about where they were. They just, one day they weren't there.
And then one day they were back.
And then one day they were back. And as a kid, you're like, oh, so-and-so is gone. And then you couldn't really talk about it because you don't want the word getting out.
And because if you talk about it, they might come and get you then next. And then what are they sending you off to, like a prison of some sort?
So what they did, they had work camps.
Oh shit!
And the communist favorite method of punishment was just work, labor, hard labor.
Kind of
So,
like North Korea and
Yeah.
China right now.
well, guess what? It gets shit done. Like canals.
Yeah.
And it's the people they don't like, right?
It's free labor. If you look at China, what did they use the people for? Labor.
Yeah.
So, but we knew when it was happening because people would still have to operate specialized equipment in those places. Like my other uncle was a dump truck driver, and he's like, "Oh yeah, the people that work there, they're prisoners, but they're just like former professors and people that said the wrong thing at the wrong time."
Wow. That's awful, man.
Well, you know, it's being called for here in a way, right? It starts first with suppression of speech, things you can't say.
Yeah.
And then it starts with like social credit score, like China.
Yeah, that right there, that blows my mind blew my mind whenever I first found out about it.
It's already here.
I know. Well, in America?
Yeah, it's already started, right? So some states now require vax passports, right? So now you have two types of citizens.
Mm-hmm.
So New York just did it, and you can't go to restaurants now if you don't have your passport.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
guess how much of the black population is vaccinated in New York City?
Not much.
30%. So imagine you're going to see it. Like people go to restaurants, they get turned away, and like, oh, look at that. I'm a citizen. I can't go have a pizza.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's that right there. That's
Or travel. I mean, that's related to your field, right? You know,
Yes.
getting on a
So,
flight.
Right now we're doing masks, and if you ever flew with a mask for 5 hours,
Sucks.
it sucks because
Yeah.
you're basically 8,000 foot cabin altitude, so you're basically 8,000 feet, and you're breathing.
It's already rough.
It's already rough, right? So people that are that have heart issues, lung issues, that are cool at sea level, you put them in 8,000, and then you take away more of their oxygen, they're not having a good time.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I've heard like diving and flying in the same day is like one of the most dangerous things, right?
That always was.
Yeah.
Yeah, even we in the Navy, there was a rule like you couldn't fly within 24 hours of diving.
Mm-hmm.
Just your body's acclimation.
It's something to
Wait.
do with like the air pressure, correct?
Yeah,
Your lungs.
Yeah.
It was on 1,000 Ways to Die. That's how I learned about it. And I did a little bit more research.
Old Spike TV.
dude, I went flying once by myself in a Navy jet, and I had maybe a trace of a sniffle. Right, I could breathe just fine. I could clear just fine on the ground. It wasn't cold. I got up to 41,000 feet. So at 41,000 in a Navy jet, the cabin pressure is 24,000. So it's like being at 24,000 feet.
Wow.
So the oxygen mask feeds you oxygen. It's under pressure. So imagine talking when the air flows the
You're
other
being
way.
force fed air. Yeah.
It sounds funny.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm up there about an hour.
Like you're sprinting trying to speak.
Yes, against much more force.
Right.
Pressure.
Wow.
So
Without the bouncing.
yeah. Well, the reason 24,000, apparently at 24,000, your blood your blood oxygen saturation reaches the level of drunkenness. So that's about as high up as you can go. Beyond that, you just start acting drunk. Right?
Hypoxia.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's the average commercial flight? 8,000 feet.
Yeah.
And then the fighter jets are at
internal
24.
cabin pressure.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Like the most I see in my plane is 7,600. But
Okay.
typical flights.
Wait, 7,600
cabin
pressure.
cabin pressure.
Yeah.
And that is based off of the altitude, which the altitude is for a commercial airline, what height?
37 to 41.
And a like a fighter jet or whatever it was that you were in. I'm sorry.
We didn't fly that high because you don't want to fly high.
No.
So we flew about 20,000. But if we try to get away from someone 500 feet,
So what was? Wait, where did I get lost here? I'm confused about the.
no. So what I was saying is how it's affecting passengers now. They're getting like headaches and nausea because not only is it 8,000 and they're smokers, but now they're muffled. So like 20% of their breath is CO2 from inside their mask.
And then they're drinking on the plane on top of that.
Oh, we could doing that on my flights.
Oh, really?
Even mainline, like you fly on mainline, hardly anyone orders alcohol. So
I just had one. I had a beer on a plane coming back from Florida a few weeks ago.
yeah, you're kind
So-
of the rarity.
Yeah, it was a big flight. I mean, it was from Fort Myers to DC.
Say,
So
if I fly like PA to California straight flight, That's the only time I really get like a beer or two.
Mm-hmm.
But
So-
I don't on like a 3-hour flight.
You don't want to do that in the middle seat.
No.
Yeah.
I always get the aisle seat. I have
Yeah.
long legs, so
So my first time ever flying, I flew from Philadelphia to Denver to Redmond, Oregon.
Damn.
And that was my first time ever flying completely by myself. I just turned 21. I was going out to visit my buddy Derek in Oregon. And
your layover was in Denver?
yeah. And then I like hopped on like a puddle jumper from Denver to Redmond because Redmond's a smaller airport, kind of like Harrisburg. So I'm talking to my friend who is a stewardess, and I'm like, hey, what's the deal with like alcohol on the plane? Like, can I bring my own? And she's like, little known fact, you can actually bring those like little one-shot bottles. Just don't let the stewardess see you because they'll try to, take it from you.
Yes.
Cut some of their
You can bring a
alcohol
lot of
sales.
them as long as they're under.
So that's what I did. I brought 12 of them to the liquor store.
Yes. Well, you can go to duty free, get yourself a
Yeah.
bottle of rum.
I didn't think of that part.
As long as you're past
I didn't
security,
know about
right?
that part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Duty free is past
Yep.
security.
I didn't know about that part, I guess.
Just
So
throw it in your carry-on and
when I'm going through security, I had my drinks in my carry-on, my backpack, or my little shot bottles. And first time ever going through security, so
Yes.
I didn't think to take my laptop out of my bag. So then security
Ooh.
checks my bag.
yeah.
So he checks every single pocket except for the pocket where all the little shot bottles are at. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, all right, great, I'm good. And then he's like, oh, wait, missed a pocket. Zips it open with two hands, goes in there and scoops them all out and looks at me, looks back down the bottles, looks back at me, and he's like, well, somebody's going to have a good flight. Puts them back in. I'm like, fuck yeah, my guy.
Yes.
So I get on this plane then, and I get sat next to like, I don't know, like a 12 and a 14-year-old girl. And I'm like,
oh my God.
I can't drink in front of children.
I'll slam them. Come on.
I can't do this. I'm an adult. I can't do this. So, and mind you, there's a dude in an Air Force uniform in the row next to me.
Mm-hmm.
So we take off, and I'm like, the shaking, this is probably normal. It's not that bad. We hit our first bend, and I was like, nope, I'm not a fucking role model anymore. Started pouring myself drinks, and
Wait,
yeah.
did you order Cokes to combine them?
I bought a Coke in the airport after I got through security,
Uh-huh.
and I drank like, I don't know, a quarter of it and put like 4 or 5 shots of rum in it.
Yes.
And just fucking house that. And by the time I got off that airplane, I was pretty drunk, I'm not going to lie. And then I had a layover in Denver for like, I don't know, enough time that I ordered a tall blue moon and then was like, fuck, I got to get on my next plane. So I chugged this blue moon, hop on this little puddle jumper, which is scarier to me because it's a smaller plane. I got this businessman sitting next to me. And I start freaking out again. I'm like, I'm drinking more. So I reach my backpack. I pull out 2 shots. He looks at me and I look back at him. And I'm like, you want one?
Did he?
Yeah, he took it. We cheers. We drank it together. And I got to Oregon. My buddy met me in the airport with a rum and Coke.
Wait, he
I
gave
was,
you.
yeah, he like had a thermos with rum and Coke in it. I was drunk for like fucking 12 hours straight.
How old were you?
21. Like,
That's what we do at 21.
yeah, yeah.
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 We don't.
I wouldn't do that now, and I'm only 26. So
You know what? You are an adult beyond. Wait, did you guys go to college?
No.
no.
Okay, well, but just so you know, it's what we do at college,
Oh, yeah.
nonstop.
Just
Right.
drinking.
Yes.
I've been to a college.
I've been to
Yeah.
plenty of college parties.
Which one?
Franklin and Marshall
lot. Yeah.
was the one I went to the most. There was a frat there that I went to so frequently with my one friend. They were like, yeah, you don't even have to come with them. Like, we get you're not a part of the school. You can just come to our parties
Yeah,
whenever.
just roll in. As long as you're paying a cover fee, we don't care.
Yeah.
Oh,
They were all
Yeah.
cool as shit. I was a legend to them because I was a full-blown alcoholic at the time. So I could just like grab a 5th of rum and just start chugging it. They'd be like, oh my God, this guy's a fucking badass.
wait, isn't that sad though? That it's like people who drink a lot of coffee, they're immune to it. You have to drink a
Yep.
lot of
Yep.
alcohol to feel it.
It's back in my real drinking days. I say as I'm holding a beer, but like my real drinking days, I would probably drink if I went to a party or a gathering of some sort, I would take a 5th of rum with me and a 2 liter of Coke with me. That was my DOC, and I would finish that 5th of rum every night by myself.
And you could still get home.
I would not drive. I never drank and drove. Do you need another beer?
I'm good for now.
Okay.
Can I say that I drank and driven?
You can say it if you,
You can
want.
say
yeah.
that if you're comfortable saying that.
Oh my God, that's all we did. in
can
high
Statute
not
of
school.
condone it.
limitations, right?
What's
It's-
that?
It's been long enough. Statute of limitations.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, back when you were in college, you guys didn't have Uber like we did.
Right.
So we're the lucky ones.
But we figured out a term that the airline uses called crew resource management. By dumb luck, I would tell my buddy, you keep me within the lines and I keep us within the speed limit. And that's a poor man's crew resource management.
Yeah.
And we were doing it
You're
as...
delegating resources, right?
Yeah, like your eyeballs stay within the lines and my eyeballs speed limit.
Right.
Never got
I only look down, you only look up.
Well, I looked down and yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Pretty much is what it was.
Yeah.
And I made it through high school and college and never had any issues.
Wow.
So, by the way, this country, you can have what, 0.08?
Yes.
It was 0.1 back when I grew up.
Which doesn't seem that significant, but that is a big difference.
That's what, 2 beers?
Yeah.
So what now the legal limit is on average 2 to 3 beers for somebody. So back then that was 4 to 5 beers, maybe 6.
Mm-hmm.
Depends on your weight. But yeah.
Like when I joined the military, people would drive piss effing drunk, right? And you got pulled over by the cops, and they would be like, "All right, well, too drunk. We'll take you to your room." Right now, it's just in the last 10, 15 years,
Handcuffs.
zero.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Zero tolerance. And I'm thinking, how did we evolve like this? But we did.
Technology, lawsuits. I mean,
money.
Yeah, money. I mean, I definitely don't condone drinking and driving.
I don't
But
either.
I do think that there are some people that are probably more capable of driving above 0.8 than other people can.
Well, do you condone legal limit driving? Like under 0.8?
I mean, yeah, to an extent. Listen, my big gripe with drinking and driving is I'm just mad that I can't have 1 beer on my drive home from work. If I could just get off work and grab a beer and just drink that on my way home
As
from
you're
work.
driving.
Drink
Yeah.
while driving. Yeah.
But you can drink it before you get in the car.
Mhm.
And as long as you're under the limit, yeah, it's fine. But you can't drink it while you're driving.
Mississippi, you
Yeah.
can.
Really?
Yeah, Mississippi, you can. And
Passengers can drink while driving in a lot of states.
yeah,
but-
like Delaware, you
yeah,
can do
but
that.
the driver can't drink and drive. Yeah.
Yep.
Which I fully agree with. So we fly to Denver now a lot. Well, guess what? It's a full pot state.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can't tell me there isn't people aren't driving.
Oh my
high
God.
kites.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Yep. There's no way to test for it, which is unfortunate because there are a lot of people that get DUIs from driving when they weren't even high. Now, let's be honest. Yeah, there's a fuck ton of people out there that are
Right.
driving while they're high. And if you shouldn't be drinking while you're driving, you shouldn't be drinking, or it's like drinking while you're, you shouldn't be driving while you're high at the same time. But I do know people who have gotten pulled over. The police have accused them of being high, which they weren't.
Yeah.
And then they made them take a drug test. And well, marijuana stays in your system for 30 days.
Yeah.
20 days ago, you smoked, so you got a DWI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so they test me randomly because what I do. So of course,
Right.
for like 7, 8 years, I haven't touched nothing. But it does irk me that I'm on the road and I know there's people that are
Yeah. Yep.
driving around impaired, which I don't think is as bad as driving around with your phone. Like
I agree.
I was driving past a lady today. She had a tablet up.
Yeah.
Oh my
A
God.
tablet.
It's even when you have a phone mount, which seems like it would make it safer because you're not hand holding it.
Yeah.
But seeing people reach out at a mounted phone while they're driving, I did that yesterday. I was on the bike
Yeah.
and I can see the guy behind me is not looking forward the whole time. The whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Right behind me. So at the intersection, I turn all the way around and I look right at him, and he never sees me look at him.
Yeah.
He never looked up
Well, he
once.
clearly stopped. And
He's just
He
driving.
stopped behind me, right.
Driving off of his peripherals,
But-
basically, at that point.
But the whole time we were at the intersection, I looked directly behind me,
Mhm.
right at him, through his windshield. Never saw me looking at him.
Mhm.
Turn around, take off, he starts rolling.
Yep.
Just not paying attention at all. But
Or
somehow
people who
just-
don't roll. And you're like, yep, I know what they're doing.
Yeah. plenty of people.
And
Yeah.
this country is so nice. You try that in Europe for about a fourth of a second after a light turns. You're getting honked.
Yeah.
But here I've seen people
here
just
people
sit
get-
there and sit there.
Yeah.
I'm like, please.
People get outraged if you honk at them here.
They
Mhm.
do.
Yeah. How dare you?
Yeah.
It's only been
dare
green
you.
for a second.
I
Yeah.
was riding my bike earlier today, and I was at a stop sign, stopped, and a car approached me. He stopped at the stop sign across,
Mm-hmm.
and he was texting on his phone. And he was sitting there at the stop sign, and I'm like, I look around, it's clear. I wait to see what he's doing. He's still looking at his phone, so I'm like, all right, I'll go across. So I go across. As soon as I get beside him, he looks up from his phone, looks at me, and he's like, "You're supposed to stop, asshole!" and starts screaming at me. And I'm like, "Dude, like,
Where have you been?
Yeah, you've been texting."
That guy should get a medal. That's
Right.
incredible situational awareness.
Right.
Yeah, actually, now you know, saying, I do remember. Like, I think it was Tuesday this week. I was driving home. I was like a block from my house. And there's this one girl. I always see her. I appreciate her dedication because I always see her out longboarding, and she's going this way.
Longboarding.
Yeah,
Damn.
yeah.
Tell us more.
And she's good at it. Like, I've seen her go out there and bust tricks. I'm like, fuck yeah, that's awesome. But anyways, yeah. So I see her coming like towards me, and I'm at a 4-way stop sign. There's a car in front of me making a left turn, and like this girl, it's daylight out. This car goes to make a left turn and almost hits this girl, and I start hitting the horn. And this girl on the skateboard just starts screaming out of the car. She's like, "You fucking dumb bitch, look at the road." And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, yeah. I mean, how do you not see them? Are you not looking where you're currently driving to?
It seems obscene, but if you don't get outraged at it, people don't react.
Exactly.
You need to know that you just almost killed a person.
Exactly. Oh, I'm
You
all
need
on
to-
her side. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
But this country is. Have you guys driven in other countries?
No.
I've obviously I've been in vehicles in other countries, but I've never driven in other countries. No.
Yeah, I was on a bus in Mexico once.
Yes. So we are the most amateur of drivers in this country. Any other country, you do many hours with an instructor.
Yeah.
Then there's ground school hours, and it's a technical test and a driving test, and maybe you pass.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a minute behind a wheel here to get a permit.
Yep.
To just start driving a car. You have to have somebody with you.
Yeah.
But you can just start operating the car
And
without a second behind the wheel ever. You
Yet we do it fine though.
You
in
just
this
push a
country.
couple buttons on a computer and they go, "Cool, here's a piece of paper."
Yes.
At 16 years old.
Yep.
Yeah.
And-
Well, hang on.
Or earlier.
That's right. I was 14 in Iowa when I
Yeah.
grew up. Wow. Because they're like, well, they have to drive machinery.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's insane to me that it's completely different from everything else. When you have a teacher, it's somebody who's educated and well versed in that thing. But yet anybody's parent can then be the teacher. What if the
Yeah.
parent's a shitty driver?
And they just have to log your hours on a little tablet, and then you go like, "All right, now you get your license."
Which, let's be honest, I didn't do my full 60 hours.
oh my god,
I don't think.
I don't think I logged an actual minute of driving.
I
But
don't
we're
think I
missing
did.
out on a common driving personality, right? So because we're all not taught the same way.
Yeah, right.
So
There's no standard. It's all
I pass someone in the passing zone because they're doing 45 and a 45, and then they tailgate me at 60 for the next 10 miles. I'm like,
Mhm.
I did something legal. I wasn't
Right.
trying to insult you.
Yeah.
In other countries, you don't do retribution.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Or I flash somebody's high beams. In this country, that's an insult.
Yeah.
Any other place, it's like you're in the left lane and you're doing the speed limit. Move the F over.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's unsafe for me to pass you in not the passing lane.
Yeah.
Well,
Move over.
They
Yeah.
actually, at least in Pennsylvania, they just updated that like 2 years ago. So I was taught, because I had a driver instructor, went through the driver's ed thing. I was told pretty much you can never pass on the right. Like, that is illegal.
Yes.
They have updated that in Pennsylvania. You can pass on the right as long as it is not in an intersection. They updated that. When I read that, I was like, "Are you serious?"
You mean on the highway, though, right?
In general, you can. It's
Two
it's-
lanes.
The law is written, basically to the effect of, you can pass on the right.
Oh, it's like
As
if
long as
somebody's
it's
making a
not-
left turn, you can just go around them
Yeah, you can.
Oh,
you
yeah,
can do that.
I
but-
always do that.
well,
You're talking on a
everybody does.
road with 2 lanes,
each way.
Just in general, you're allowed to pass on the right
shoulder.
as long.
Right.
All it says is you can pass on the right as long as it's not in a lighted intersection. And I'm
Mhm.
like, that's still really unsafe. Like, I was always
Mhm.
told not to. So now all these people that have been flying past me on the right, I'm like, oh, I guess they were right.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, the thing that irritates me with like the people cruising in the left lane is that
Cruising, yeah.
nobody understands the danger from it, because when you get to like the area, I went on a full Snapchat story rant the other day and like posted on my story about how dangerous it actually is, because I was driving through or I was driving south on 581 heading towards Mechanicsburg.
Yeah.
I may have even been on my way here actually. Or maybe with a barbershop. Regardless, it's kind of like a cattle chute area where it goes from 4 lanes to 2 lanes.
Yeah.
And then you get some fucking Yahoo in the left lane going 45 miles an hour, and there's some tractor trailer driver that's not passing them for God knows what reason. And now you have a large amount of vehicles trying to merge together, now getting slowed down. And let's be honest, these people don't want to slow down. They don't want to go under the speed limit. So now everybody is within inches of these bumpers. And something happens. Say a fucking tire flies off somebody's car on the other side of the interstate and flies over the median, hits somebody. There is a 72 car pileup right there, and that's how people fucking die.
It just happened on 81 this week.
I was gonna say 81.
Somebody drove across the barrier and hit 2 cars and killed 2 kids.
Oh,
This
is
week.
that what
Yeah.
happened?
Yep.
I saw like a headline. I didn't know what happened.
Yep.
Jeez, that's awful.
Well, there's
Yeah.
a thing we have in Pennsylvania that I think I spend a lot of time on the road, and I think is dangerous. Which is if a cop pulls someone over, you're supposed to get in the other lane.
Yep.
Well, I'm not sure if
Any
it's
emergency
supposed
vehicle.
or a must because
Now it's a requirement. It used to not be a requirement. Now it's a
dangerous
requirement.
as
You have
hell.
to slow down to 20 under the speed limit or yield lanes.
Oh, so you can't stay in the same lane but slow down 20 under.
20 under.
Oh, that's very good to know
Or you have to change lanes.
because everybody else changes lanes
Mhm.
and it makes almost a pileup
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
at the point of
And it's any emergency vehicle now.
yeah.
Tow truck, ambulance, police officer.
And if it's that big of a which it is, if it's that big of a concern, why don't we make the roads a little bit wider, make the shoulders a little bit bigger?
I think the fact that they've been taking stuff out of the testing is bad. Like, add extra things in there. Instruct people on what they're to do if they get pulled over. A lot of people have no idea. They just see the cop lights and they just start going over. But like, I remember when I was younger, the first time I was ever pulled over, the cop actually had like a loudspeaker, and he was like, pull up to he told me where to go, and we had plenty of time, so I just slowed down and we went over there and pulled. But like, they don't do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But people should at least know that's what I'm supposed to do. Nobody knows anymore because they're not. They took parallel parking out.
They did.
Yeah, they took. Yep.
You also don't have to
They
drive on a highway.
They lowered the time that you need to have. They took parallel parking out. I don't know if you even have to drive with somebody. What did you just say, Hunter?
You don't have to drive on the highway.
Yeah, you don't have to drive on the highway.
I mean, I took my driving test almost a decade ago, and you didn't have to drive on the highway.
My big thing that they really should be teaching in driving school and everything else, teach people how to fucking merge. That's
Yeah.
Yes.
that's the killer.
Signal, get up to speed.
Yes.
You've got the whole ramp to get onto the
Right.
highway. Use it.
The reason why ramps 9 times out of 10 are going down is to help you gain speed.
And
I see a lot of people as soon as the 2 pieces of asphalt connect, like even though it has the stripe, I see a lot of
they're
people
just
flying
jamming. They're
right
just
over.
jamming the
Yep.
wheel.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Oh yeah. When you get off 15 onto 581, that
Oh
right
my
there.
god, it's the worst.
Yep.
Wait, 50.
You get past the mall on your right, like you're going towards Harrisburg,
Uh-huh.
and like you have
Yes.
that long one. Yeah, people just always fly right over, and it's
So solid line, don't cross.
Mm-hmm.
Dotted line, you can cross. But the solid line portion is for you to get up to speed with the rest of the cars. So you should at least match the speed of the cars you're going to merge with.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's no pileup. Nobody's jamming on the brakes. Nobody's slowing down. Nobody's speeding up.
And I think cars nowadays are head and shoulders above what I grew up with. Like
They
60 horsepower. And,
right.
oh yeah,
And they let people know when they're in your blind spot,
Yes.
which is crazy. I can see that. I'm passing somebody, and I can see that their car is indicating to them
Yes.
that I'm in their blind spot.
I like messing with that.
Right.
Like-
forward and back,
Yeah.
forward and back, forward and back.
I've done it at night because it's
Yeah.
you get bored.
some cars do ding too.
Yeah. Or your seat rumbles or something if you get too close to the line.
You know, I never. That's amazing. So my next car has to have these features.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I spent.
And automatic braking is just crazy.
I rented one and I thought it was so eye opening.
mine has forward collision assist. So if like I'm still hitting the gas and there's something within range that I'm gonna hit it, like somebody, it has saved me from getting in
Like
an
if you were to
accident.
put the brakes on right now, you would still hit that thing.
Yes.
It puts the brakes on for you.
Well, no, it won't hit the brakes for me. It just gives me a warning so that it gives me just enough time to lock them brakes up. Because there's one time I was going down the pike and it was back when I still had a work phone. So my phone's up on the mount, whatever, and I'm going through an intersection. Traffic is moving perfectly fine. My work phone is sitting down on the center console and it just dings out of just human nature. When you hear a noise, you look at it. And I didn't look at the phone. I just looked down and then looked back up, and the car in front of me had come to a dead stop. And I just hear beep, 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 beep. And well, I heard the beeping, and then I look up and the car's at a dead stop. I slammed on the brakes, yanked it. You could smell the rubber burning and everything, but it saved me. Yeah. I would have plowed into the back of that car at 45 miles an hour, and I wasn't texting and driving.
Yes.
I never even looked at the screen. My phone was laying face down on the center console like that.
You just happen to look away.
Yep, right then. So that kind of technology, I think, is
Does
amazing.
it work independent of being connected to any network?
I believe
It's just sensors. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just sensors.
Because you
and
see
cameras.
what they just passed with the infrastructure bill, right? The National Infrastructure Bill. A part of it says you will now pay per mile driven. So I'm like, how do you count the miles driven? So Pennsylvania has been floating that idea, and now the federal government just passed the infrastructure bill saying we're going to do a pilot program, we're going to see how it works, and then in 3 years we're going to decide.
Oh.
Which means they're probably going to decide to do it. They have to track you all the time.
Well,
or at least get a download every once in a while.
Whenever you do your registration for your vehicle through the state of Pennsylvania, you have to enter in your mileage, don't you?
Yeah, but what if you own a car for life? Like,
yeah,
this is going to be a per year tax.
Which, to me, I think is bullshit, because people like me who work on the road and travel a lot, like, now I have to pay an exorbitant amount of money just because to use the roads I'm already taxed on.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
and it has to go federal. It can't be just per state. You can't just have one state doing it. And I bet you they're going to have states that says no.
Florida.
Probably. But the only way to do it is you must have everyone doing it.
Yeah.
And what they can't do is it's unappetizing to raise the gas tax.
Okay. What, the second highest gas tax in the country right now?
I don't know.
Something like that.
But apparently, I'm kind of torn on this. We haven't changed the gas tax since the 90s. So in a way, I'm like, all right, inflation has gone up a lot. Maybe we should pay the equivalent of the 90s gas tax, percentage-wise.
But we already pay the highest gas tax.
Yes.
So why would you want to pay more?
Sorry, talking about the federal.
Federal?
Yeah.
So what's the difference? Like, what do you...
I don't know. It's 18 point something cents, I believe, per gallon federal. I don't know what the state is. I don't think it's more than that.
Oh, like the federal gas tax and the state gas tax. Gotcha. Yeah. What is our state gas tax? Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like,
but I used to buy
.9.
in,
Isn't it like 0.9 or something?
like 9 cents.
Yeah.
Could be, because federal is 18. I think total tax is like 20 to 30 cents. 37, 30, yeah, per gallon.
No, I'm going to look it up now.
But anyway, we still have the cheapest fuel in the Western world, not counting Qatar and Venezuela.
California has the highest tax on gas. What is federal gas tax? 18.3 cents.
Yeah. So anyway, we're going to go, because they can't increase the tax without the politically being bad. They're going to have to track us. Now, in a way, I agree, because Teslas don't buy fuel. So how do they pay the 27 cents per gallon equivalent of 50 mpgs?
Well, unless that's an incentive to have a
they definitely
electric vehicle.
Mm-hmm. That's right. But in a way, as a society, we should pay for roads, even if you have an electric vehicle.
I agree.
You're still paying 6% sales tax on the electricity whenever you fill or charge it up.
Well, yeah, but you have to pay for the infrastructure, which is a joke in Pennsylvania.
But everybody uses the roads, but only the people who actually drive on them pay for them.
Yeah.
By mile.
Because people ride buses.
Yeah.
People ride bikes.
Yep.
And they don't pay the tax for it.
Oh, you're paying for a bus ticket, right?
Yeah, but I thought that fuel
you're
isn't
paying
taxed.
You're paying labor, fuel,
it's
infrastructure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the bus company certainly pays it in the fuel they buy, and that's how it was meant to be.
Yeah.
I mean, PennDOT is just an absolute joke in
So
Pennsylvania, in my opinion.
I have half my vehicles in Florida, and there's no state inspection. And if you look at Florida, they're not unsafer than
Right.
So this state inspection here, I grew up with it; it was normal. But after seeing other states, I'm outraged.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why
Even
should
Maryland,
somebody? Yeah,
just a bordering state.
yeah.
Only
Yeah.
when you buy or sell a vehicle, when a vehicle changes ownership, you have to inspect it.
Yep.
So if you own it for life, as long as it doesn't fall apart, who cares?
It's not like everybody's going to be driving around Julian's vehicle from Trailer Park Boys, you know?
Was that a Tempo?
I think it was.
But I think the important thing to note is that car kept driving.
It did. They
Through
crashed it so many times.
Well, I drove with a guy today, and he had a 95 or 6 truck, like a pickup truck. And I'm like, you're like a few months away from never having to inspect this, because he had inspection and emission stickers. I'm like, why do you still have these?
Yeah.
So my goal is to find a 90s car.
I only drive 90s cars.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
What do you got?
93 Lexus GS 300 and 98 Lexus ES 300. I do have an 01. That was my first car,
Well,
but
is a 93
they're not registered
Classic
as
tag?
classics yet. No.
but you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
25, right?
25.
We're
and
classics hunter.
then
I
You
know.
never need an inspection or an emission. So
But it
But you
can't.
can't drive after dark,
It
right?
can't. No,
No.
classic you can, but it can't.
That's
You're not
it.
supposed to have a. It's not supposed to be a commuter.
that's right.
It's supposed to be minimized to like once a week.
There's no way to check it.
But there's no mile.
Yeah.
Oh, I knew
restriction.
somebody who
Yeah.
got popped by that because his neighbor was a dick and reported him.
It's
Oh my God.
I can't remember who it was that told me that, but yeah, he had a neighbor that reported him. I was like, what? How do you have the time to be that level of petty?
antique. I think is the one where you're really restricted. It's like
Mhm.
car shows only. Can't drive after dark. You can't do over a certain amount of mileage per year. Yeah.
So there's another concept that I want to see here. So in Germany, I think it was in Germany, my dad was saying this dude had like multiple cars. Well, you pay insurance on the highest car
Right.
and you just transfer the back plate to whichever one you're driving.
Oh.
Here you pay insurance per car
Yep.
as
I know.
if potentially at one time you could be driving all of them and have an accident with all of them at the same time.
Yeah.
Which I think that's just, I don't know why it's not being
Mhm.
implemented.
Yeah, actually, I never thought about it that way. I mean, obviously, they would have to look into the values of the vehicles because insurance on a Porsche isn't going to be the same as a Civic.
That's right. You
Yeah,
pay-
but I
highest.
have a bunch of shitty vehicles, so really the highest
Yeah.
value one would be still
Yeah,
not
no,
that much.
I'm agreeing.
it's the version of a dealer tag, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You get one tag for all your vehicles.
yeah, that's actually wow. I never even thought about it that way. And I used to be in the car industry, so damn. Well, we're kind of running out of time here tonight. I want to kind of wrap things up. But do you have anything you wanted to like talk about, like one last subject, or anything you wanted to shout out? Anything you wanted to plug? Any promotional things you want to do?
Let's see. No.
Okay, fair enough.
Don't really want to call out what you do, where you want to,
Yeah,
you don't want people to fly with you.
We should definitely
Oh,
definitely go to Wisconsin and get some kielbasa though.
No, so I'll plug a few places, right? Utah. If you guys ever get
Just
a
the whole
chance-
state.
No, I want to be specific.
Okay.
Ryan, we're talking about you.
The whole
I'm going to
state.
be
Utah.
specific.
Yeah.
You would do just fine with your Germanic look, by the way,
Oh, thank
in
you.
Utah. Southern Utah. So if you guys are in, it's amazing. We have 7 national parks. I used to live in Utah. So I'm going to plug Utah.
Okay.
And I'm going to plug the Gulf Coast of Pensacola. Not the Atlantic coast, the Gulf Coast.
Pensacola. That's up.
So, Florida,
That's
like,
in the
That's
higher
in the bar,
part.
Pensacola. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was one of the last places I traveled actually for work. I flew into Pensacola and then I drove from there to Gulf Shores, Alabama.
Yes.
That was a weird drive.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, very strange.
I was
Well,
just
like-
on the Gulf side.
Just marsh and then like abandoned buildings and then
Yes.
marsh and then abandoned buildings and then a beautiful beach.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you get your toesies on the beach?
Oh yeah.
Did the sand sound different?
Sound different. I don't remember.
Yeah, it's so fine.
either.
It's squeaky almost.
I was in a trade show and then drunk, so I don't really.
Oh,
Wait, I wasn't.
Yeah.
What did I say? I don't either. I was never there. I didn't say what I was supposed to say. What I was trying to say is, does it sound different? But I said something entirely. So
it's
what?
squeaky.
It's squeaky.
Yeah, because it's so fine. Like you step on it and it's. If you get to like the Jersey coast and you
Right.
walk on the sand, it's gritty.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Well,
like
imagine
dense,
yeah.
like thick. Yeah,
Your
And then-
feet get all smooth after.
I don't think I ever
Yes.
really thought about that.
So I'm plugging travel to southern Utah and travel to the coast of. It's such a.
Do you watch Florida Bama Shore? Is that what this is about?
You know what? Yeah. So Pensacola, where I also live, it's called L.A., Lower Alabama,
Oh.
and it's redneck.
I've always wanted to go to Alabama. I just want to see the deep, dirty South one of these days.
Which part?
The dirtiest parts.
Mm.
People with like summer teeth.
Okay, so I stopped in Meridian, Mississippi to get gas. And you guys ever watch the crocodile guys or alligator guys that hunt alligators?
Oh yeah.
Like on the Discovery
yeah.
Channel.
And they have subtitles for them?
Mm-hmm.
The Cajun people.
Well, no, they speak English, but it's subtitled.
Mm-hmm.
So when you listen to it for real,
It's mumble speak, right?
there's no pause between
Right,
words.
right.
It's like a
Yep.
sing-song.
It's a long run of syllables.
And I thought,
Yeah.
this is beautiful. But if you're a foreigner who speaks the Queen's English,
Right.
you're going to be blown away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not going to understand any of it.
It's like a
You-
different dialect of English.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So you're like,
Literally.
all you have to do is that.
Literally,
Is
yeah.
tell them, do you mind pausing between words?
Yeah.
And then it's perfect.
Really?
Yeah.
They're still weirdly pronounced, but you understand what they're saying
Yeah.
because they're not bleeding word into word into word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I stopped by and I just listened to the people talk and I thought, this is so eye-opening.
I watched a documentary recently about Appalachian people,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a very similar. They have a
Like mountain men?
they have a very specific way of speaking,
Mm-hmm.
and they're aware of it. They
Mhm.
know that other people have no idea what they're saying. They're aware of they say a word that means nothing to other people.
Mm-hmm. Where is this? West Virginia?
There's a whole group of area. I mean, you can find people in Pennsylvania that are like that, but northern mostly.
Because I've been a fan lately, you were saying about Pennsylvania, of traveling around Pennsylvania, like the Grand Canyon,
I want to do that. I think my dad went and did that recently.
the PA Grand Canyon.
Uh-huh.
Like, I would do a ride up there.
I would do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys have cruisers?
Mm.
Mhm.
It's only a 650, but yeah.
Only. That's huge in Japan. You get taxed more.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it.
All right. Well, dude, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah.
Jesus, this is just, we were all over the place in the best way possible.
Just a casual conversation, start to finish.
Yeah, seriously. But we talked, I learned a lot too. That's what I like to do. So,
Sweet.
let's have you
Thanks for the
back
beer.
on. Yeah, of course. Thanks for having a beer with us and talking.
You know, I'll
Do this
come
again
back
soon.
on and give me like 3 beers and see what happens.
I'll bring a fifth with me. Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thanks, good.
Dude, that's dude, that's dude, that's dude, that's dude, that's dude, that's